And I just want to say it's definitely happening now. As you know, like there's so many people out there.
Yeah, I want to talk.
It's 10 years. It's blah blah blah. You know.
No. That's one of the reasons I knew that it was time to talk. We're live on Facebook now, but I knew that because some of the stuff you've been putting out, even that little meme you put out, I think today or yesterday, like we both looked at it and we're like, okay, like there's certain people that we know, like they validate, they validate what we're going through. So yeah, we'll get into that. Let me play this intro. I'm going to pull up an old one.
Perfect.
So it's going to be a little bit funky, but that's okay.
Yeah. Play that funky music.
Yeah, we'll be right. We'll be 3 minutes and 30 seconds. We'll be back.
Perfect.
So let's do this. All right.
To look the other way? Well, you do want to look away, man. This man-made matrix, but not for all the wrong reasons. And don't forget, the universe said there is no time but seasons, a cycle of resurrection. Perfection is not a process. I need no more direction. I found my human to know my soul. Found my freedom. What's the opposite of slavery? But the bold, blunt bravery to push through the lies. Truth's lost its disguise now, and I'm right where I need to be with the rest of humanity, an awakening from calamity. Woo! The universe said there is no time but seasons, cycle of resurrection. Perfection is not a process. I need no more direction. I found my human to know my soul. Hell yeah. Let me tell you, what's the truth? Yeah. Truth equals the highest freedom. Emancipation, proclamation won't be needed. We don't need permissions for our freedoms, but that's the truth now. Freedom brings me closer to me. Yeah. And the universe said there is no time, seasons, a cycle of resurrection. Perfection is not a process. I need no more direction. I found my human to know my soul. Yeah. Past is the past, the future a tomorrow. Done waited too long for this life to be over. I am soul, here and now. I'm over the wow, the booms, and the tragedies. I see the majesty, and I ain't got no time for anything but our freedom, our universe, our world, and our soul. Yeah. The universe said there is no time. Perfection is not a process. I need no more direction. I am perfection. I found my human to know my soul. Yeah. The universe said there is no time but seasons, a cycle of resurrection. Perfection is not a process. I need no more direction. I am perfection. I found my human to know my soul. Yeah. The universe said there is no time but seasons, a cycle of resurrection. Perfection is not a process. I need no more direction. I am perfection. I found my human to know my soul. Yeah.
All right, hang on one second. Let's get that crazy guy off of there. That was
crazy guy.
that was many shadows ago. Not that I'm done. Let's see. Yeah, a big shout out to Pete Negri. He says, Neil, Todd, have an amazing show. Send you both my energy. Just go from your heart, buddy. Love you, man. So, that's what it's all about. And let me just make a couple of quick announcements, and we're going to jump into this in our typical unpolished, and some might call it amateurish style. But this is a really special show, and I just want to align with the energy of it. I feel it, and this is the transparent, telepathic 5D creation that we're making. We're not going anywhere. We're making it. But Yeah, so I just want to give a quick message to everybody. If these shows resonate with you, please share. I haven't said it much on the shows lately, but there seems to be some suppression going on, and that's cool. It's all in the perfect order, perfect design. But if these shows do resonate with you, please share to your page or just to one group. Just one share is cool. And I want to thank everybody for the continued love and support and contributions as we continue to honor the human. The human is the hero. Follow the fairy tale. I am soul, you are soul. So I'm really excited today because, you know, for the 8 years I've been awake and the 6 years I've been on social media, 80% plus of the people in the communities have been feminine energy, feminine incarnations. That number's dropped down. The demographics of Soulogy, which I think has got to be indicative of the collective, we now have about 63% women and 37% men. But there is a powerful soft frequency, a soft frequency that is more powerful than the false energy of the falsely empowered masculine that is beginning to come to the surface. And Neil Devaney is one of those people, in my humble opinion. He is, you know, in his, what the old patriarchal might consider a passivity, which I've been accused of in my early days anyway, that it's a weakness. It's not. There's more power in this softness that's not too many, but more and more men are carrying, and Neil Devaney is one of them. And I just want to say, this is a really special show for me, and I would encourage anyone who tunes into this on the replay or the live to please share it, because I think it's going to be a powerful hour, and we'll go from there. So let me just welcome Neil and I, which is atypical of the 1,400 shows we've done. I don't normally talk to people before the shows. I'm like, I don't want to talk. But Neil, like so many of these light workers that are so connected in such a powerful, humble way, is technology, you know, provides a challenge for him. So we met, we talked a little bit. It was very cool. And I just want to bring that in too. So Neil, thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing space with us. Thank you for the work you do. It's not, you know, there's so many people, men and women out there in the forefront doing their thing, and everybody's got to do what they think they need to do. But you bring something to the table through your comments and through your post in a very subtle fashion that's extremely powerful. I have tremendous respect and admiration for you, and you've inspired me many times. So thank you for coming, and let's have a conversation and get to know each other in front of everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I just want to say, Todd, Morgan, Soulogy, it's great to be on. You guys are doing an amazing job. It's so important to get out, you know, the messages from people, I think, that are, you know, kind of real-time intel, humble, going through it. It's, you know, this collaboration is huge. I can tell that people are being drawn together, that are meant to collaborate, and it's like old friends, man. It's so cool, you know. And I guess what I'd say is that, you know, I was so happy to, you know, to get, you know, the invite there, and I just felt like, hey, man, this is perfect timing. I just feel pumped about everything, you know, really everything we've worked for many people for many years, all of us working towards, you know, seeing this new earth, you know, figuring it out, remembering, sharing, and, you know, it just seems like we're really getting the downloads now of true remembrance information. We're no longer needing to necessarily look outside for, you know, the guru type, whatever you want to call it, people that we me in the past said, well, this is the way it is. Now we're kind of finding out, well, it's the way we decided it is, and you know, what Spirit's telling us, source. And I'm just seeing validation of that and real experiences that you know, we're doing it, man, and it's happening now, and I'm so excited, man, extremely excited.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I really admire about you, and an example that you set, which is really incredible to me because of my path, is that you know, a lot of times when you put something up, I'll go and, you know, and I'll open it up and a lot of times it's somebody else's post and you'll put some comments on it. And I really find that, you know, it's inspirational to me. It's not even what we say, it's what we do. And the fact that you have a masculine incarnation and you don't need to make a loud noise, you don't need the notoriety, you know, you don't need, you would almost work in total anonymity, but there's a part of you obviously that we can all relate to, that we're all expanding our throat chakra that has to come out. But I really admire that because so much of what I find on your page when I go to it, it is like you know, the tendrils of a spider web. And so I go there and then you share this, and then I go to that page and I find this and I find that. It's really moving the cosmic web frequency, you know, the holy matrix infrastructure is supported by this humility and by this benevolence and really, you know, pure unconditional love. I mean, it's I feel like most of the time when I do a show, many of the times I'm in a session and I'm the client. And sometimes it's like you meet somebody or you're with somebody and I kind of like move the audience to the side and I have my own curiosities, and that's where I'm at today. And I'm just going to admit that. So it's like I really respect and am inspired by your frequency. And so I guess where I would want to start, and I used to ask this question a lot, but I'm really curious, is how long have you been like this? Because some of the stuff that you put out at least tells my soul or something that you've been clued in for a long time, because I gain stuff from what you say, and it's not through the actual words. It's just like, oh my God, you know, this guy has been awake, if we want to use that term, for a long time. Have you been?
Well, I'm glad you asked. You know, I guess I give a really quick one-on-one on my awakening journey, really quick. You know, in 96 or so, I guess I found that most people, you know, at least for me, it was, you know, I was about 30 or so when I finally, the light blinked a bit, you know, and that was like in 96. And you know, got into some basic stuff like Celestine prophecy, conversations with God, you know, things like that. And that's, the light went off. I went right back into the, let's call it the matrix, you know, and completely asleep again. And then I really, you know, whatever, did a lot of things. And my big wake up call came in like 2010, 11. It was actually after my mom passed. And that was, everything was cool with that. There was nothing traumatic or anything. Lived a very long life. Great. I was very lucky. I had some great parents, good relationships with them. And anyway, got into some shamanic training back then. And that was really cool in that it introduced me to self-healing techniques. And did a lot of sweat lodges, a lot of, it was kind of Mayan based at the time. And of course, we know we were going into that 2012 thing. I was very much into that at the time. But I did do a lot of, introduced to a lot of self-healing techniques through that. I didn't stick with it a whole long, you know, couple years or something, and still keep in touch with a few of the people from there. But, you know, went down to Mexico. Specifically, it was for May 21st, something like that, 20th, they had the annular eclipse, and the Pleiades was supposed to be right above there. Quetzalcoatl was supposed to return that day, and I had to be there, and I went. And you know, and from then, that's when I got into the photography, and yeah, the light went on big time. And I just was getting downloads, and it always seemed to relate to this main cause. And if you know, you look at some of the stuff in Facebook, there, even that 7 years ago or whatever, it was kind of poking to that heart consciousness, this mirror, what that mirror is. You know, I kind of, you know, now I know it's basically an interactive hologram that we're in as far as our consciousness. and what it seems to experience. We experience physicality in, but that awakening definitely took some time, and that inner work, man, is huge. I know many people, it's an inside job,
Yeah.
clearing the dross, the shadow, the inner wounds that a person may carry, energy blockages, ego taming, there's so much that I'm, I was a little disappointed in 2012, things didn't just go boom.
Yeah, right. I know, to me, everything that comes at me, and I mean, as the days go by, every single thing, I look at it as a potential program. And I hate to use these terms, but we have to use these terms to talk about this stuff. But so much of that ascension programming, which was, I think, rooted in that yogi guru, Far Eastern even, and all the stuff that we accumulated before we came to this point, because this is the most important point, was flip a switch and everything's done. Like, okay, well, I'm flipping these switches and nothing's getting done,
Right.
And, and this goes back to that whole dog chasing its tail kind of thing. It's like, if I look at, the opportunity to speak to you, I'm not trying to put you on the spot in any way whatsoever or put you on a pedestal. Although even I have to make this, repeat this comment by Pete Negri on here. He says, heart-based ! Neil is one of our way showers, light warrior, and an authentic badass, awakened, strong, all caps teacher. Love you, man.
Love you too, Pete. So yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, let's get him on. So let me use you to get him on, all right? No, so it's just questions that I have. And I think that they must be shared, as goes the individual, so goes the collective. Like just different questions that I have, I like to throw at you. And I never, honestly, 1,400 shows, I've never really done this, okay? But I would just like to get your take on it. I'm not saying you're right or you're wrong, or trying to put you on a pedestal or put you in the spotlight in any way, just to see what your take is on it. Because so much, I mean, one thing I will stand by, and I could be what is, for lack of a better word, wrong. I believe our highest activations, downloads, channels, and transmissions come from these conversations. So I'm trying to learn. And even if my conscious brain, my conscious human, my finite brain doesn't get it, I know at some soul level, I can get something, I can pick something up. So that's what I like to go with it. So like just on different things. I mean, like, some of the stuff you write is very thought provoking, that you move forward, even if it's someone else's material with your comments. Let's start with this, okay? And we won't stay on it too long. I'm really curious to see where you're at with it. I'm in Ventura Beach, Morgan and I right now. Thank you, Annie Weberly, for allowing us to come into your apartment for a couple of weeks. And it just so happens, and there are no coincidences, that there is a conference going on, a 3-day conference by David Wilcox and Corey Good. 700 people there, quite a few people that we know have been doing lives from there. But this whole frequency, and I don't want to influence your answer in any way, I just want to tell you where I'm coming from, and I think a lot of us are. Secret space program, breakaway civilizations, the Illuminati, the Cabal, the 13 families, the Vatican, this, that, all the other things, pedophilia, Pizzagate, and all that. I had an opportunity to go over there, and I didn't want to. And I respected that. Because to me, that no longer applies. That I respect the David Wilcoxes, the Corey Goods. I've listened to hours and hours of all these people. Sandra Walters there, a lot of people we respect. But there's something about this movie script that I can't watch anymore. And I don't want to give anything to it anymore. And I look at it like this, and then I'll pose the question. Morgan and I are on this journey. We've got, by 3D standards, nothing. We do have a car, and it's coming on a ship. And thank a friend of ours for allowing us to borrow the money to get it here, all right? And be here in a few days. So there's, as an analogy or as a comparison, we're in this space where nothing that has gotten us here applies anymore. We can't, I hate to say it this way, we can't afford to go into fear, but it's not even like that. It's like we don't operate that way anymore. It's not to say that everything's warm and fuzzy and peaches and cream. and that when I say hashtag follow the fairy tale, that it's just like Snow White, because it's not. We wake up every day going, you know. But my point is, I look at that whole frequency, that narrative, that external force, energetic force upon all of us. Now, I'm just speaking for myself. Let me just qualify that I can no longer look that way. I love David Icke. I love some of the work Wilcox and Good have put out, and many, many others, Jordan Maxwell. But I'm tired. That's an old, it woke me up. Thank you very much. I honor, respect, and revere you, but it's time for me to move on in this new frequency that has no directions and has no tomorrow. So I guess my question is, where do you stand with the Trump and the QAnon, and this is not political, the conference that's happening, the storylines of secret space programs, the storylines of 100,000 spaceships landing, or Jesus coming down in a chariot blowing smoke rings out of his ass, or whatever the case is.
That's true.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, next question. But where do you stand with all that? How does Neil Devaney sit with that stuff?
Sure. No, I appreciate that. That's, I guess, first of all, I would say that, yes, all of that good stuff is happening in one version of the hologram or not. And it has. And from my experience awakening, you know, generally, yeah, when you initially awake, you want to, that's what you know, get into, it seems, all the way things have been run. And, you know, it absolutely was, but it's no longer, I don't believe. You know, I think it's a choice what we focus on, and very much that as co-creators, as sovereign co-creators, and that's that heart conscious related thing. You know, where the mind tends not to maybe co-create it as with a unified feel that the heart does. But regarding that focus on all these things we don't like, and in general, for me anyways, it lowers vibration, which is completely counterproductive. It's all about raising vibration. And that's where that inner work, at least for me, came in, that it allows that stabilization of your vibration. Because, you know, if you're in your head, you know, it's all related. That inner work allows you to kind of drop from your head to your heart and stabilize there. And then once you're there, you become an extremely powerful co-creator, you know, dreaming the dream, the waking dream. And I believe it's, you know, it is primarily for the individual, but for the collective as well. It builds, we're all dreaming this in. So yeah, I don't focus at all on it. I'm aware of all of it. I do, you know, whatever, you kind of pick up on it, but you know that whatever the folks that would like to maybe keep running the script, I call it the shit show, affectionately.
Yeah, I saw that post. I'm gonna have to pull it up here. Keep going though.
Yeah. Anyways, you know, they would love us to focus on that, because that resistance, or, you know, if it creates a lowering in vibration, a charge, the resistance, number one, empowers that.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of nailed it there, talking about all these diverse narratives, and ultimately it seems to take away from our sovereign co-creation. You know, oh yeah, they're going to save us, and, you know, hey, I know, you know, ETs exist. The ones I know of are us. They're us. They're here to help, support. You know, it's real. We're increasing in vibration. The hologram, and I refer to it as hologram, like a lot of people do. Yeah. Just the level of what we're experiencing and in physicality, they're there already, and there's no way we're going to interact with them unless we meet them, you know, halfway. So they're there to help. All of this is good, but, you know, secret space program, yeah, they may or may not exist. I don't know. But I don't, you know, it seems almost like there's always the heroes going to save us, and it's just anything that's disempowering. You know, Q, Trump, wonderful. You know, pedophilia going down, people getting busted, wonderful, good signs. but I just don't tune into it because it's just, it seems to be counterproductive.
Yeah. No, I'm in agreement with you, and I'm glad that you said that. Because when you made the comment about Jesus, no, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
But but it's like, let's close this part out. But I mean, the whole thing is we've had a narrative that we followed as a collective humanity, and all the promises have been broken, basically. So why the hell? What's that old saying? Once a liar, always a liar. You know, and that's not to disrespect or dishonor or to feed a consciousness of separation. But to me, that's what you're saying is, the bottom line is everything in this beautiful design has kept us from becoming aware of ourselves, basically, and anything that feeds that, anything that says there's one side here and one side there, that's separation. And these
duality.
That's duality. Somebody said to me the other day, and I can't remember who it was, and they said anyone who's preaching duality is creating duality, basically. But you had this post that if you don't mind me just getting into this, you had a friend send you a question.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, my first question is, what is PTW? Is that powers that were?
Yeah, that's, I thought everyone knew that one, but I guess.
Well, no, I'd never seen that acronym before. But
there's the other one, PTNW, powers that never were. But
true. Hey, yeah. I call them the powerless powers that be.
There you go.
So you say, so they say, do we need to love the powers that were, and accept their continued attempts to control through creating fear, division, and anger on the world stage? So this is right where we're at. We'll close this out, this part. And you say, that's a really good question. What I sense is very important to hold a neutral frequency charge in regards to manifestations of the control matrix shit show and the powers that were puppets. We are such powerful dreamers and co-creators dreaming new earth in the shit show out. Now, I can go ahead and read this whole thing, but I think that pretty much says it. And my next question is, without being leading in any way, so I'm going to make it real short. What are we in a quantum? Have we gone from linear to quantum? And what does that mean if you agree that we're in quantum? What does that mean? How does that change the rules from the center of the universe, which is me, which is you, and so on?
Well, I would say, first of all, it's literally, again, relating to that hard consciousness. It seems once that you're in that place, and that to me is, so many people have descriptions of it. It's basically, there's not a whole lot of thought going on up in your head. It seems to be that you're in a very stable, neutral, kind of, very intelligent. It can react. I can pull information down, and it can do the logic. It can read it, right? But it's a still point that brings you into the moment. It's, we've always been talking about being in the now. To me, that is prime of being in the moment. And what I'm dealing with right now, it's just, we're so used to referencing time, even with this interview, it's like, well, can we talk a little bit like 1:45? What does that mean? So anyways, but being in the moment, that is prime. So that linear aspect, if you're in linear time, you're generally going to be in your head. And then, it's being in the moment. I know that's difficult, especially when you got a 9-to-5 or very busy lifestyle where you need to be placed at certain times. But it seems once we are in that moment, in the quantum, let's say, it seems that you're in the flow and things just magically happen when they're supposed to. You show up on time. You're late. Well, guess what? An example, walking into a movie theater half an hour late, and as soon as you walk in, boom, no things other than where the show starts immediately. It's like, whoa,
that's right.
The elevator comes down, boom, the doors open. It's like, wow, this is kind of cool. Green lights. So that seems quantum to me. Like it seems so subtle, these things, but it's been proven to me over and over again that it's real. It seems like, again, there's subtly different levels of this holographic experience that if we can vibrationally align, and it seems that heart tends to be, and I don't mean to focus too much on that because a lot of people, well, still got a brain, and absolutely, it's, you know, heart, mind, balanced mind, whatever you want to call it, but you're in a place where that vibration is, you're able to modulate it, and it's like, this is kind of cool.
And from a creator, co-creator respect, I don't profess to know a lot about quantum, you know, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, and all that. What I do understand in my little investigating that I've done is that the observer doesn't just observe. The observer actually creates by the force of the thoughts carried forward or so on, right?
Right.
And I've really applied that to myself on a personal level, especially in human relations, because I thought, well, just because they're in human form doesn't mean they're any different than this bar stool and this chair and this kitchen counter over here. It's still all the same God substance. So who am I to say that I don't have influence on that person? You know, and this gets kind of intricate and complicated. But my point is, when we talk about these things that have brought us to the point that we are we not, and you put it in your post, you're basically giving life to that. Your consciousness, or whatever that is that you're projecting out, your energy is actually feeding that reality, for lack of a better word. And I guess in a quantum realm that we're in now, how do we choose to, because another post that you did that I really liked, or your words anyway, were we're not going into 5D, we create 5D, which totally lit my crown chakra up. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So how do we go forth in a quantum realm and create what really is the core of all of us, heaven on earth, nirvana, whatever you want to call it, 5D, whatever you want to call it. Do you have anything to offer on that? Like, I mean, what do you do? How would you see it?
Yeah, well, you mentioned initially there about, you know, the observer having, you know, and this, I'm not a big physics guy. It interests me a lot, and I kind of understand it. And I think it's always, it's very important to me to see validation that these theories work. They've been proven for maybe other things, but it applies to the ascension and the hologram and all this. But the observer basically collapses the wave, and that brings matter out of the wave. The wave is numerous potential. So collapsing the wave, you're basically, that's part of co-creation, because you collapse it. And I believe, again, the heart can actually narrow down potential. So that's where some co-creation comes into play a lot. Basically, I think as well, some of the science of manifestation that's out there regarding, you know, basically very much our imagination, our visualization, what we believe in, the thoughts and emotions that we charge these visualizations with, beliefs. Some people say, well, don't have any beliefs. I say, absolutely not. Have beliefs that empower, hold those dearly, whatever those might be.
Yeah.
Limiting beliefs, yeah, boom, get rid of them. So those type of things, and again, I'm still playing with it a lot, as I know most are. But I see that focus, and it's almost like a cake mix in a way. And vibration-wise, that seems to be, again, co-creation aspect. When I say co-creation, at least I refer to it as not only co-creation amongst all of us as individuals that are united, but with source. You know, you could almost look at the reflective nature of the hologram or the co-creative ability as co-creating with source, and where we can align. And that's where maybe the multidimensionality comes in.
Yeah.
Is that fluctuation in vibration literally is the multidimensional shifting. And, you know, we can get even more intricate of timelines, you know, based on frequency. So maybe it's a vertical shift based on frequency. And I'm still playing with this and learning.
Yeah.
And it does, you know, really seems to be how we're learning how to navigate this thing, together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this would be more of a, so you're, just from a point of curiosity, I know, because obviously Morgan and I have talked about it openly. I've talked about it openly, and I'm seeing a conversation with our friend Janie Hodges, who we're going to see here in the next few weeks up in Oregon or Washington State. ETs, visitations, apparitions. We've had these things happen. We never try to judge it. We've always felt and understood, not saying we're right. We don't know. We're just finding our way like everybody else navigating this thing, that they were aspects, they have been aspects of ourselves. Even the dragon that came in 2-3 days ago, that was an aspect of me, that, you know what I mean? So I guess what I'm saying is, with that, with that backdrop, did you have any faces of the universe that brought you to the party? Or I'm just curious because
Scotty beat me up.
Yeah, right. Well, because I know part of what I and many have struggled with, I think, to be open and honest about it, is that you have certain faces of the universe that bring you to the party.
Right.
In most cases. Now, I've met people that have always spoke to one voice, basically. And so what I'm saying is we tend, we're all one, to get attached. No different than we get attached to traumas. And then we woke up eventually and said, hey, that's not me. And they weren't a perpetrator and I wasn't a victim and I'm moving forward now, leave that shit behind, right?
Right.
But the same thing goes with that. And I think it's interesting to hear people's perspectives on that. So did you have any particular faces of the universes that brought you to the party, and where do you stand with that now? Are they all embodied in you, or did you ever even go down that road?
Well, interesting question. I would say I have had sightings. I've actually seen, this was back in 2001. I've seen the ships. And to me, they were interdimensional. They were. I posted some pictures. I wish they were mine, but they were the closest thing I could find to what I actually seen, and they were translucent, green hue to them. I suspect it was due to a higher vibration as well as a third eye type visual. And it was an overlay. You could tell it was like a bleed through, and that's what again kind of led me into this. Well, this hologram thing, it's all here. It's just different overlays that we align with, and definitely that third eye connection is very important. It ties in, again with the heart consciousness and being able to actually get a visual on this new earth.
Yeah.
And but I, as far as my encounters with, let's just call them ET. What I seen were, they looked like us. They wore uniforms, some baseball caps, some military style caps. I recall and this is after something just recently here. I remember it was like a triangular type emblem upside down. It was a flat part on top.
Okay.
And that was back in 2001, and definitely there was communication, and it was not parental. And now I guess what I've gotten to with that is that I sense it's crew, and if you can say aspects, maybe it's kind of like Avatar. You're kind of in the machine and you're down here in this Avatar suit down here. Perhaps. I've never been one for channeling or anything like that, but I get downloads, that it's just like, wow, I know that. And much like you mentioned earlier with, kind of cruising the posts or surfing the posts where it's kind of like synchronistic messaging. You're either online, whatever, or posting. Whoa, this all hooks together, and it delivers them, because this information, it is, seems to be a little tricky to describe and explain, and that's why a lot of times pictures, music, and combination kind of wiggles it in there,
Yeah.
So,
And,
yeah.
and you mentioned the photography, and I saw a picture on your page 2-3 days ago. Morgan showed it to me of a cloud that looks like, I mean, you see all these
Dragon.
pictures now, and I'm not taking anything away from you, but did you take that picture?
I did not. Yeah, no,
You did take that?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Oh,
Todd.
wow.
It was
So
my favorite to date. And say I got into photography in 2011 and loved it. Got some amazing. I really wanted to focus on abstract landscape, and I was just cranked with it. Had the time to travel a bit, resources. That one I got out little town west of here called Canmore, and it was pretty trippy. And that I wish I took that one.
that's one of them.
Okay, that one is one I didn't take. I wish I had. But I do have a beautiful cloud one that looks like a dragon. And
yeah, I saw that one too. I couldn't find that.
No worries. But yeah,
I saw that one too.
Yeah, but no worries there. Anyways, that one that I was talking about was out in Canmore, and it was just magically there in the zone. I didn't have my camera. I ran back to the truck, and it was still there, and it's just got all this motion in it. And I do like land faces, like it's like literally when you're in, and maybe it's third eye, I don't know. These cameras seem to pick it up when you see it. There, yeah, that one is, I call it Moon Dragon. That little circle there is the moon, but that's a little trippy. And
it's a little trippy.
Yeah, I tend to like the, I just call it nature's art. It's like really, hopefully abstract and beautiful. And that's almost, like how we co-create. We can literally, paint the sky. These beautiful things just come out and greet us, and you say, wow, and so that is definitely one of my faves.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's like the whole thing, like you were talking about with like surfing the news feed. I mean, I don't do a lot of it, but when I do, and I'm aligned, and I'm, in my field, present in my field, it's like reading a book. You go from Neil to this person to that person, and it's like one thing just like is attached to another, like you're connecting the dots in the old children's color books, But I see the same thing too. And again, I'm not knocking anybody. All I'm trying to do is get to a place that we all are, which is to expand my awareness and to enhance my experience. So I look at these things, and I've always been very organic for the last 8 years. Whenever this stuff started happening to me, regardless of whatever galactic or angelic or whatever showed up, it's always been nature. And nature to me is everything I can sense with the 5 senses and the higher senses. And I look at these cloud formations and this, and a couple of times I've said, hey, that looks like a ship. But I think what I'm trying to say is, and I think what I'm getting from you is it doesn't even matter. It's there. You went to Canmore, it was there for you, and you were able to capture that and share it. And I believe fully that it carries many frequencies, codes, and that type of thing because of your intention, because of your alignment with nature in that point, or the universe, whatever you want to call it, and then to go out and project it outward from a motivation of passion and unconditional love, and brotherhood.
Well, it's like you mentioned, we were talking about earlier, before we went on, and about the party favors, back in the day. I don't need party favors anymore, but it's like that. But you're completely, you're not high, you're per se, but you're seeing the same way. You're seeing the life, how everything's alive and interconnected, and that's
true.
It is so cool. And I guess I'd put that to third eye, pineal gland effects.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had something like that happen. We had that happen the night before we left from Kauai to come to LA. And we ran into a friend in Kauai at a gas station. And there was another thing happening. We're at one pump, and she was at another pump, and another friend and his friend were at another pump, and there was like a little conflict, chaos thing going on. And so our friend, who Morgan had never met, I'd met one time in person, who just happened to be in Hawaii when I went there, and then had left. But here we are in an island of 50,000 people, and this person looks over at us, not knowing who we are, and says, "Can y'all please stay?" She was scared of what she was seeing, and I'm telling you, like you said about the third eye thing, at that moment when I looked over there, I said, "Is that so and so?" And then it just like it was almost like, you know, if you've ever done mushrooms, when the mushrooms hit you, right? When the mushrooms hit you, it's like the whole body gets it. It's like, poof, you know? And so it was like that. And then everything became, and so she walked over and says, "Is that you, Todd?" I'm like, "Oh my God." But it was such a 5D, for lack of a better way, 5D plus kind of experience. I was like, whoa, this is what it's going to be like. It's going to be like going to a rave and hitting some ecstasy, or doing some mushrooms or ayahuasca, whatever the case is. It's going to be like that. It's going to be like dream state when you're flowing without fear and without anything. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I can see that's exciting to me. And I wonder too, because like what that post or your comments on that post that you put up, where you said, we're not going into 5D, we're creating it. And that goes back to the quantum observer thing. And how do we, after being so small in our own eyes, how do we grow this thing? How do we enhance this thing? Would you say that it strictly lives and dies with the shadow work that we do, for lack of a better way to put it? Or does it have something to do also with the actions we take?
Yeah, actions are definitely required, but I think it's a very small percentage of the co-creation.
Yeah.
Collaboration. I think everyone, you know, really wants to have their time to shine, you know, where we kind of basically combine our strengths. And, you know, I know with, I think it's Vera Ingberg.
Yeah.
She kind of got a really good kind of layout of how, you know, the new sort of collaboration and you want to call it commerce works, where there's
she's got it.
Yeah. So that type of thing, you know, and I guess, yeah, we're very powerful, and you know, I think ideally it's about unity, it's about unconditional love. The ego generally, you know, we got to have it, but it just seems like you really want each other to succeed and to see this thing grow. And it's almost like, I have a friend, his name is Lawrence Wendell, I think you
I know. I've had him
a while ago. Yeah, and he's a really cool guy, and he's living it, you know. And he just had it was a comment about you know, the new currency, and you know, how, you know, things are kind of flowing for him without, you know, necessarily paying for it.
Yes.
And it just seems like it's, you know, it's literally you know, equal energy exchange, unlimited abundance, shared, and leave it to source to be the accountant. You know, it's like all this is going to go around. There's more than enough. You know, I don't know how it's going to look, but I am just so pumped and positive that this is all coming together. And I guess action-wise, collaboration, I think that's what I feel is like. I'm just so happy because, you know, we've been kind of, I would expect, feeling a bit alone out there. You know, I don't have a lot of people. You know,
it seems to be changing a little bit. And I guess what I was talking about with the action thing was, I see a lot of people, and I would have to say, you know, and again, it's not, you can't judge this stuff, in my opinion anyway, on the linear scale or on the human scale, because if you take time out, it doesn't matter if I make the jump today and you make the jump 2 years from now, or 2 weeks from now, 2 hours from now, it's all the same thing. But what I am seeing is people taking the leap.
Right.
So that's what I mean. You know, the shadow work, and there's got to be a better way to explain that now, but I guess that's how we have to do it. We know there's gold behind those shadows, and we know that it expands us. So when we feel uncomfortable, when we go through a tough time, we can now, I think, be more comforted in the consciousness of knowing, okay, well, this shit's getting real. I'm going to go into my my turtle shell and pull everything in, and we'll let all the bombs go off and come out. And I know I'm going to be expanded.
Right.
But the other side of it is there seems to be some type of action correlated to expansion of the magic, and that's how I would put it from a human term, of the miracle, but really of our natural skills and abilities, our multidimensionality, all integrating into the flow of this human experience that I'm seeing little bits and pieces of that's starting to get some traction. And that's very, very interesting to me, because it seems like it is a contagion. It seems like the people talk about the 100th monkey thing. I don't know, you know, I just I see that occurring. I don't know if you've seen any of that where you're at, or have you experienced any, but
Absolutely.
yeah, it just seems to be an impetus for another expansion.
Yeah, no, I definitely I'm glad you mentioned that, because I got a download like the 18th or 19th of this month, and it was just like boom in the morning. It's like, we did it. It was like, you know, the collective consciousness has been successfully seeded, full memories coming online, 100th monkey effect. It was like boom, like a download. And it wasn't, and then all these confirmations came in from different other people out there, sources that I definitely respect and love their information. And it was all the same thing. Everyone's feeling it. It's like, wow, now it gets quantum, in that this awakening it'll go very quickly.
Yeah.
You know, regarding, I guess, folks that are ready to go now, I believe that's important as well, because, you know, you mentioned about living it, doing it, you know, just go for it.
Yeah.
Collaborate every way we can, support each other, build this community. Let's set up camp for New Earth in so many ways. And I know Source has our back. I trust big time. So yeah, definitely 100th monkey effect, if you want to call it that. It's kicked in, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, so what that looks like for the, you know, I think, you know, a lot of folks are going to be interested in hopefully some good information that will make things fairly efficient, you know, to do that inner work quickly. It's not going to take as long. Trail's been cut. Yeah.
You seem to, now I could be wrong, but because you've always got something, there's always substance in everything you put out. But I've noticed, and maybe it's me, okay, but I noticed over the last few days, and it's not just with you, by the way, I noticed something changing, and it's been changing rapidly. Like you said, it's not going to take that long, because these paths have been cut already, whatever. The collective neural pathways have been blazed, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at is, and I'll lead in with this that happened last night. We were integrating, and we were watching a show. We had some dinner with some friends, and we were watching a show, and the computer shut off, and the speaker shut off, and I was already shut off. I was already crashing. Morgan put it to the side and lay down and went to bed. She woke up shortly thereafter and was instructed to do some type of process or ritual with my half awake body. You know, we just make an infinity sign with our chakras.
Right.
But what she saw, if you can picture like a horizontal disc, or say horizontal dominoes that are laid on top of each other, not standing like this, and that the top one, and here we go to the overlays, because that's how I see it.
Right.
The top one had just disintegrated, and then the intel was that because that happened, the next one was going to disintegrate more, you know, very, very soon. A lot like, you know, the domino falls and another one falls, and so I saw a post you put up, which in literal terms didn't sound anything like that, but in the frequency did. And you said something like, do you feel it?
Right.
The love light's coming in. Now, I've seen this again with a few other people. What do you think's just happened? And do you think it was a significant elevation here very recently?
I do, and it's been definitely going on, for a long time, but the last couple of weeks just seem to be, Lionsgate. I'm not necessarily a big believer in all these alignments are required.
Yeah.
It just happens when it happens. But and the collective consciousness and our manifestation, our co-creation really creates a lot of that as well. The synced up, expectation regarding timings of these things. But yeah, there's definitely seems to be, this incoming light, and where that's coming from. People talk galactic center, age of Aquarius. A lot of people say it started 2012, whenever, don't think it really matters, but it's this incoming love light, which is, described as photons,
Yeah.
adamantine particles. That's, basically, which makes up the ether of the hologram. And my understanding is it's very much like, like water crystals with Dr. Moto. These things can be programmed.
Yeah.
And that's where that co-creation aspect comes in, through our intent, through that vibration. And
yeah.
Again, there seems to be almost like we're dealing with that no matter what, that same interaction with the mirror, but then the mirror's the multi-dimensional aspect kicks in as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of time I try to, with some of the posts, that mirror facing mirror, where you got the mirror, to infinity effect, where that's that overlay. So yeah, there's definitely, I got a jolt this morning. I was like laughing, and I'm a morning person, one of those crazy morning people, but this morning I was like over the moon. And
really?
Just like, whoa.
Wow.
And that, I believe Amanda Lawrence, she mentioned about, I think it was yesterday or a couple of days ago, about, what's kind of missing is this bliss factor. And that kind of hit home for me, like, today felt blissful. And, I believe that's kind of the state that we get used to. It's just because it's just kind of self-fulfilling. Once your vibration is maintained at a certain level, it's just wow. And that again just fuels that co-creation of this beautiful, I call it play of art, that we all want to equally create together and share.
Yeah, I can really relate, in the job I do, and I have no problems with it. It's the greatest job in the universe. But and I respect everybody's reality, absolutely 100%, 100%. No qualms about it. But I, on a personal level, relate to this type of conversation, because there isn't a distance. There isn't a distance that's created in my mind between what we are and what we are. Like the human is the hero. The human is significant. It's almost like, we all get this stuff coming in, whether it's an 1111 or a 5555 or a chance meeting, or it's a visitation, an apparition, a download, or whatever the case is. But none of that stuff, even if it's in the non-physical and etheric, none of it can do it for us.
Right.
All it can do is provide us synchronicity, validation, information. We still have to do it. And that speaks to my heart. That speaks to my soul, which I believe is the heart and the mind fused, as I've received in my turn. But that's just me. And I guess what I'm saying is that it's like, it seems to me like that the surges come when the human, and it's much more than just aligning, but when the human actually takes ownership of that quantum ability, because even with all that information coming in, we can do whatever we want from right here. Yeah. I mean, and so that's why I like talking in this type of conversation, versus nothing against the instruction and the challenge and stuff people pull in, but I just feel like we are we are the key. You know, the key is, even if we're not going to be here when this life's over and the human, but there's something about the eternal force of the human species. This wasn't all for nothing.
Yeah.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that. Hey, just be an observer and it's all, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's a benign experience. No, I don't get that. I don't buy that.
Yeah, I was just going to say really quick that, you know, I think we're all remembering, you know, the plan was, as far as I remember, it was to bring, you know, might sound like cliche, but we're here to bring heaven to earth.
Yeah.
You know, we're here to have a good time. This is for everyone, you know, shared. There's no hierarchy. Everyone is contributing in the way that they can. And it's, you know, unlimited abundance, beauty, peace, love, unity, all these things that are really important. And, you know, it's, as I say, it's a bit trippy to have gone through whatever we had. And, you know, I'm pretty familiar with that side of it too, regarding what was, at least what feels to me, what was done regarding kind of a time loop and a duality overlay that was you know,
it was
a loosh machine that fed hungry hippos, you know, I don't know, but
it was an MF, wasn't it? Actually, it was a series of MFs.
Yeah, no doubt.
But that's you know, and I guess going back to how we started the show, or at least I started the show asking that first question, it's like, you know, I'm tired of beating a dead horse, man. What's done is done, and it's just a story. And maybe when we get to wherever this is, or I don't know, I don't think it's that. I think I go back to what you said. We're creating it, and that's all there is. You know, whatever we're getting, you know, however you want to formulate that, past, present, future, parallel, whatever, it's not here. It's not conscious here right now. It's not Neil. It's not Todd. I know people talk about you got to get rid of all these identities, blah, blah, blah. I don't resonate with that. To me, that takes away from my experience. And I believe more than anything, we're here to experience, and now at this point, enhance that experience, not just for ourselves, but for everybody, which goes back to what you're saying about the collaboration, the co-creation. And on that note, are you planning on coming to the U.S. anytime soon?
Well, I'd love to. Especially down around Sedona, there would be beautiful. I would have to just see with that, but I really appreciate you kind of putting that out there. I love the U.S., you know.
Yeah, if you ever do, well, that's it, 2 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 3 hours.
You're mountain time. Oh, 3 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you ever do head this way, please let me know. I'd love to collaborate. We'd love to collaborate with you again. If you're up for that, if and when it resonates, just let us know. Don't wait on us, but we'll probably ask you anyway.
I would love to, you know, this is, as I say, I really appreciate being able to come on here and share with everybody. And there's so many people out there that I respect, and I get inspiration because we're really doing it. We're not being told, oh, it's whatever, it's 10 years off, it's not until, you know, no, it's now, man. It really is.
I agree.
And you know, we're at that point where it seems, well, hey, you know, do you want to stick with this for a little while longer and kind of follow the narrative, or do you want to make our own narrative? That's
what I say.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I have a lot of respect for some of these people that pull in this really intricate, specific intel that's got dates and have had accuracy, but I'm not waiting to 2035. I'm not waiting to 2028. I'm not waiting. To hell with that. We can move this thing as far as we want. And, you know, and that's one thing that's always fascinated me too. We've had so many people come on the show who channel and you know, and they pull in whatever you want to call that, the you, me, we, and it, and they say the universe is on the edge of its seat, watching what we're going to do. They can't believe how far we've come and how fast we've come, and they don't know where we're going to take it. So I'm with you. I'm like, you know what? If anything's possible, then yeah, it's a real simple. Robin mentioned choice point. It's a real simple choice point. Do you want to wait, or do you want it now?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think that's yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, please. Thank you. Yes, please. And I surrender. Neil, thank you so much. Is there anything we can do for you? Do you have a photography page? Any way that the community can support?
No, not at this point. I plan to get into that. I'm hoping to get a little more out there, doing some stuff online, and
Yeah.
who knows, Pete, we've been talking about getting together, maybe doing some stuff. I'd love to work with you and Morgan, and
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I just feel everything's really starting to gel. But I do appreciate that I'll be getting my photos out there eventually.
Right on. If we can help you in any way, we'd love to help you. We're trying to, well, we have been. Well, we're not linear though. So we're expanding and moving forward as we're guided to do, both through our journey, but also we've been fortunate enough in synchronicity to meet some people of different skills and abilities, and certainly we would be open to any type of photography collaborations, whatever. We're finding our way just like you are. We're navigating it just like you are. And I just want to say one more time, this has been a great, I hope this is the first of many collaborations with you, because it's so easy to talk to you. And you're right, I've had chills the entire time. And I just
old friends.
Yeah, I just want to say on a personal level, you've been a big inspiration to me in a very quiet, subtle way. And to me, that's the most powerful type of energy, which I've had to learn to become, because I was very alpha male, and because I had a lot of shadow and such, but you've been a guide for me. And I just want to say thank you on a personal level.
Thank you very much, Tom.
All right, brother. I'll see you later.
Cool.
You take care. Peace out, everybody. I'm supposed to let you know in 54 minutes, we're going to be on I don't know the name of it. Sorry, Kathy Mason. I'll put it on the page. Morgan and I are going to be on, and you know how camera shy is Morgan. So that'll be a good show. I'll see you soon, Neil. You take care, man.
Right here, right now.
That's right. Take care.